Hello and welcome to Different Perspectives. I'm Paul Ndiho coming to you live from Washington. Accra is no longer just Ghana's capital. It's becoming a testing ground for Africa's digital future. From AI lessons in Twi, Iwi, and other languages, to students building robots for global competitions, to Ghana stepping up into the next generation of computing. This ambition is clear: build a workforce for an AI economy. But the risks are real, and job disruption, and equal access, and schools without labs. Tonight, we are asking a simple question: can Ghana become a creator of technology without leaving parts of its population behind? And joining me are three distinguished guests, people familiar with this technology and who are leading the way in shaping some of this future. Daniel Ameza Phillips of ScribeWorks, Bernard Ni Aji Akumulumu of Nikasomo Technologies, and Jonathan Kennedy Sowa of Innovtech System Center. Gentlemen, welcome to Different Perspectives.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul.
It's a pleasure to have you all for the first time. Maybe let's get into it. But before we get into it, let me just get a brief kind of intro from each one of you to tell us a little bit about what you do. Let's start with you, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paul. Daniel here. I'm the CEO of ScribbleWorks Publishing House, and at ScribbleWorks, our mission is to promote effective learning. We design innovative learning solutions for learners in Accra, Ghana, and some of it has to do with data analytics tools that help us to examine children, find areas of strength and weaknesses, and then tailor interventions for all those weaknesses to be solved. Thank you.
How about you, Kennedy?
Yeah, my name is Jonathan Kennedy, founder and CEO of Innovtech STEM Center. We are Ghana's leading EdTech innovation hub that empowers the youth with industry-relevant skills in science, tech, engineering, and maths through robotics education. We have created a platform that allows students to build and program robots virtually without having access to physical robotics kits.
And finally, to you, Bernard.
Okay, so my name is Bernard Yakulumo, CEO and CTO for Nikas Technologies. So back then, like in 2014, we came up with Nikas more. And what we do is that we build software for basic schools, basically to operate and also like give them content that is curriculum relevant, so that they can learn properly. So we also have tools for AI and other stuff that enables teachers to teach effectively. And so that's what we do at Nikas. So our software empowers schools, content empowers learners, and also our AI tools also powers teachers to teach very effectively. That's what we do at Nikas.
Okay, so gentlemen, Ghana has this ambitious plan to train 350,000 younger coders each year and build an AI-powered society by 2033. Is your country betting on innovation to drive the future of its economy? Maybe, how about we start with you, Bernard? Weigh in.
Okay, so for me, I think that AI is the future, and then any country that wants to relevance in the future has to know how to use like these tools to basically build and scale. AI, like for our experience, we have built tool for teachers that like help them to create lesson plans. Usually, at first, it takes them about 3 hours to create lesson plan. But with our tools, it takes them like just a minute to do that. And that means that means that teachers have all the time to now actually prepare and then teach learners as against wasting time to plan lessons. And so I think that every so, like this is just like one use case. Um, every country that wants every country that wants to go for it has to know how to use AI, and we're empowering teachers and also educators and also learners to know how to use these tools to basically become better and faster. And also as CTO, also AI helps me to basically like build products more faster. Initially, um, at first it could take you like months to ship up like a product, but right now with like with AI tools, if you know your way around, we are able to ship out products quickly so that teachers, learners, uh, learners and schools can basically enjoy it. So I believe Ghana has to leverage AI, and then we have to do that. We have to do that by building tools that empower learners and teachers and also schools, because once learners are equipped, they are the ones that are coming to build the future. So we have to build it, and so you have to give them the tools that can help them to basically build the future. So like Ghana is there, and then we are doing all it takes to ensure that the right tools are built to help them to leverage AI to basically how do you call it, get to a point where they are creating great value out of it.
Mhm. Daniel, you are at the center of this transformation. You are helping young people. You have created jobs for a lot of young people. How about you? What are your thoughts on this program?
Yes, the program itself falls under a broad strategy. The government aims to make Ghana the AI hub for Africa. So that is the bigger picture. And in doing this, there are several components that we have identified. One of it is the people, the workforce that is going to drive this AI agenda. And that is where you see the 1 million coders, which they have divided into yearly targets. And in fact, AI, as we enjoy today, is based upon a lot of layers. So we need the human capital to drive it, people who are going to build solutions with it. It also comes with some responsibility. So if you look at data protection, the data that is being collected, how is it being going to be used? And so the training of this number of people is going to cover all these areas. So I think it's a step in the right direction. We need to get the people, the workforce that can integrate AI into our daily lives. Talk of things like education, health, finance, and all of that. So I think it's a step in the right direction. And the government has started some partnerships as we read uh, in pursuit of that. So we are enthused about it, and we think it's a step in the right direction. Yeah.
Jonathan, you have been also like behind the scenes, going all over the country, trying to teach younger people about coding, about robotics. How does this program play into what you've been doing already? Jonathan,
Hello, please come again. I think I lost you.
Hello.
yeah, you have been at the center
Good
of
afternoon.
this
How are you doing?
training young people across Ghana to be ready for this
Yes, we are ready.
new technology. How does this initiative by the government help support what you've been doing already?
Well, I
So,
that's a
again,
really good question. That's a
uh,
really amazing question. So please, can you mute Bernard? I think.
Hello, Jonathan.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Tell us about what you've been doing. I know you've been working very hard to train young people in areas of coding, robotics, and other things. How does this new initiative maybe help complement what you've been doing already?
Okay, so with the 1 million coders program, it's more of it is the pipeline, the talent pipeline of the research agenda of the current government, right? In the Ghana AI strategy. So the 1 million coders is the
We'll be free
talent.
on the call.
It
Take
is
prayer
broad.
session.
There is the data infrastructure, there is the ethical governance and stuff. But then the major thing is the pipeline, the talent pipeline, because if all these structures are put in place and there's no talent pipeline to, work things out, it will be useless. So I really admire that the government is working really hard on that. And the current program is targeting, let's say, older youth, which is, let's say, from 18 years and above. But our focus as a startup is that why start when they are older, when you can build them from the foundational level? So we are focusing more on the foundation. So before the students get to the level where they have to take Cisco courses, Google courses, they have like solid understanding of what coding is, what data is itself, and what how to navigate a computer. That is what we do. And then I believe that once we get into that collaboration with the government, it will really push more and then make achieving the 1 million coders by 2028 very realistic.
Uh, when I was doing research about this show, one of the things that intrigued me was I learned that Ghana is now teaching AI and coding in some local languages, especially with Google's support. Daniel, how do we make sure that, like, for example, the data that is collected in Ghana and when you connect that to the culture, can build Ghana's own intelligence data systems, not just foreign platforms? Or how important is learning some of these tools or learning some of these skills in the local languages?
Yeah, I think the key word is for us to adapt. You see, the technology is there and is being developed, but in order for them to solve our peculiar set of problems, we need to adapt them and personalize them. So that is where it becomes useful. There are times where you use large language models like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and the kind of information they give you, the generatively, there's a disparity. So you need to keep prompting it. So let me give you an example. If you ask for a school child, it may by default give you a white child, right? And it's because of the data sets that are used to train the models. They are quite skewed, right? So when we have localized content being used to train um, some of these models for us, it makes it more adaptable to us. We can relate better to it, and it wouldn't give. Some people take AI literally, like what it says is what they take in. So there's that gap. So if we don't localize it and use it to solve our own problems, then we will be living in a false paradigm where, I mean, the thing has been trained elsewhere, but the kind of output it is giving is not totally applicable here. So I think that is a good thing. I've seen some other edtechs actually using that they are training the models based on local languages and things like that, so that we can further personalize them and get the solutions close to last mile users. Yeah, that's what I would say about it.
Jonathan, how important is training these young people to play with this technology, with these AI tools in the local languages? We've been dealing with a lot of young people, especially those who are in primary school, secondary schools. How important is it to train them in their local languages?
Yeah, it is. It is very critical because these are students now learning how to speak English, and most of the content are in English. Most of the content, adopted content, are in English. So if I am now trying to learn that language, and then you are bringing more advanced stuff for me to learn in that same language that I haven't mastered, it doesn't like really help, right? So teaching it in local language means like they already know that language, they understand it, and they are really like able to connect it to the things around them. And when the teachers are teaching them, they use things around them to interact, right? And then let them understand the relevance of what they are teaching. So local language teaching kids in using the local languages is very critical, because these kids are now about to learn their English. So when oh my lost, can you hear me?
Okay, but Bernard, maybe pick it up. How important is learning some of these new skills in the local languages?
Yeah, so in my experience, last year we visited Asante Akim, like somewhere in the somewhere in the Ashanti region, and then we interacted with learners from between ages 6 to 15 years. Because you realize that like younger ones, they didn't understand English at all, and so we had to use a local dialect to now explain to them the concept, and then we saw that like once you use like local language to explain to them, they they easily they easily understand the concept very simply. So I think that the government trying to how they call it, utilize leverage AI so that AI is able to understand a language so that learners are able to interact with it, especially via voice. Via voice, I think it's a great thing. But but as Daniel said, we also have to ensure that we own the data that is being trained. We have to build the bridges, but they have to ensure that the kind of things we are doing for them, we are we also own it there, so that in case we are trying to switch to, let's say, like a different provider, because um, um, there are going to be so many providers. Right now, we have OpenAI, we have Claude, how do you call this, Gemini. But then I believe there will be there's going to be like so many providers. So if you lock yourself into just one provider, that means that you are stuck. And so we have to ensure that like in as much as we are doing that, we have to ensure that we own our data, and also so that we can also easily migrate to other places. And also, I don't think that the government should also focus on just just one partner. They have to focus on like how we can build like partners across the spectrum. So that is one thing that is what I'm thinking. Local languages for learning is great, but then again, too, we have to ensure that the models we are training um, shouldn't be locked to just one platform. We should own the data in a way that we are easily able to move across various companies once we figure out that, let's say, something isn't working out well for us. So that is what I'm sharing on that.
In fact, Bernard, you bring up a very good point. When I started like really getting into this AI space, one of my concerns was the simple fact that almost all the tools that were out there was nothing that sounded like me or reflected me as a black person. I like the fact that you all agree that yes, teaching some of these, like for example, these technologies in the local languages is a good thing. But going back to the point that I made, to what extent can that really help empower these young people? Because as we know, most of these models that are out there, the language of instruction is not any of these local languages. So what is it going to take to get to that point where at least most people feel like they are part of this system? Right now, as we speak, all these models are trained in English or some Western language, right? So for you guys who are in that space, how do you think this can be overcome?
So for me, I also build, like write a lot of AI code because we have tools for AI, and then one thing I realized is that the the interface we have to build is the interface we have to focus on building should be more of like should be more on the voice front. So we have to skip the text and then move to voice because, let's say a child, a child in basic one, and let's say Agogo. They don't understand Chi, but then they can't speak English, but then they can fluently explain. Let's say the problem in Chi. The AI should be able to understand the thing audibly, and then and then to be able to explain it back to them in Chi, not in English. And so that is and so for me, like that is where I'm looking at when it comes to text to speech. Like when it comes to text, the child doesn't like cannot speak English already, and so I don't think that they can't they can't express themselves like in English you write, and so that means that but they can speak their local language, and so you have to leverage on the voice aspect and the train. Like when it comes to training, training isn't so difficult because you're training models that are that are creating the same plan that are almost 100% perfect. But then the challenge now is the output. Like how do I make a child that doesn't know how to speak English be able to communicate with AI so that AI assists them? The key is voice and also video. And so how do we build that? Like that's the front I'm looking at too. So if the partner is going to help that, I mean, we are all for that, and we're also building ours as well. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, and
Daniel.
then I would like
Oh,
to
okay,
add
go
on
ahead.
to that.
Okay, sure.
So it's incredible because there's also a local startup called Akaya AI that have developed this local language AI. It's better than Google's own. So I recently saw that they've met with the Minister of Education, and I'm really hoping for a fruitful collaboration because that would really change the game for this teaching in local languages thing. Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes,
you,
yes.
you know, I was going to ask something along those lines. I was going to say that we are we not risking, let's say, if they just focus on like let's say two local languages, and yet you have so many other languages. How about for people who don't speak those two local, let's say, Twi and Iwi, uh, and there are other people who speak different languages. So doesn't the country or any of these players risk leaving a lot of people behind if they're trying to do local languages? Why not expand it? Why just focus on a few local languages that are only spoken by a significant number of the population? Maybe Daniel, you can weigh in as well.
Yes, I'd like to piggyback this off of Kennedy's answer. And last time I checked, Kaya AI has about 11 local languages. I think they are focusing on languages that are widely spoken. And it's still an ongoing project. So it translates. You can write something in English and then it will either mention it in Hausa, Ewe, and so on and so forth. So it's actually ongoing, and I think the languages are increasing by the day. So it's a step in the right direction. English is our official language in Ghana, so every school teaches English, right? But at the foundational stages, where children are speaking their L1, the mother tongue at home, when they come to school, and it's like that the language of instruction is different from their mother tongue at home. So they have to be doing that kind of translation, right? So with solutions like this, the Kaya AI, it makes it easier for teachers, learners, and even parents, okay, to translate some of these things. Maybe a child has learned a concept in English, and what is its local corresponding term? It will help them to pick it up. So it's an ongoing thing. We are not there yet, but there's been a very good progress. So I think currently in Ghana, there's a policy that supports that children, I think from grade three below, should be instructed in their local languages. So depending on the region you find yourself in, the local language that is spoken there could be used as a medium of instruction. So some of these AI tools also come to help, because there are cases you have teachers who maybe from one region and have been transferred to another region, and then the language still becomes a barrier. So having these solutions there is a step in the right direction. And even though we've not done all the languages, the progress that has been made is quite phenomenal, and I think is the way to go. Yeah, it
You,
looks
you know,
exciting actually.
uh, every time I've come to Ghana, and I've been to Ghana several times, I get an opportunity maybe to move around the schools, and I've seen firsthand that most of the schools, whether they are primary schools, secondary schools, even up to university, there are very few schools that have like computer labs, right? Or where students have access to these computers. Now, the government is talking about this ambitious plan to train 350,000 coders a year. Is this a realistic thing? Can it be done? You guys have crisscrossed the country. You know what exactly I'm talking about. Can this be achieved?
Yes, numerically, like it can be achieved. It's even though it's ambitious, it is possible. But then the question here is about how quality is it going to be? What the kind of quality are we going to get, and then what are the outcomes? Are we just looking at completion certificate, or are looking at graduates that are starting their own like tech startups, or getting employed doing remote work or doing some freelance gigs? Those are the kind of outcomes we are looking at. We are not looking at the number, we are looking at the impact that this program will have on the users. So numerically it can be achieved, but my concern is about the quality.
How about any one of you can jump in? Daniel or Bernard, you can jump in.
I think
Bernard, yeah, after Bernard, I'll go after Bernard.
I think that the government has to deliberately have a plan for learners to have an own devices. I think that they are doing very well when it comes to the high school part. I'm told that like most high schools or some high schools, the learners have access to devices, and so that means that they can now use this device to now particularize and then learn the particularize and then learn the coding. We as sneakers so we also have a program called the one child one time program, where we also equipping learners in basic school with devices. I believe that with devices, like once they have the device, like that's the bridge. They can now learn and practice all the time. And so we have to ensure that like the goal is there, but then I think like the macro goal, the sub goal of that, like the sub goal of that. So how do we ensure that, let's say, like we have these learners have access to, let's say, device, let's say, like once or twice a week. Now now that makes sense to us. Okay, let's say they are taught something, and then they have somewhere they can go and particularize like what they've taught, what they've learned. There's a company called Coral Reef Innovation Hub. they have about 700 labs for learners, and so all these places are places that can be leveraged. So we have high schools that have tablets. We also have like Quarry that has about 700 labs. Then we also have Tech that that has labs around. We also equipping like these learners with devices. So once the devices come up shore, now we know that the learners have where they can learn Pascal's like what they are learning. So and so learners um, um, can now use code via at home to learn their robotics. They can now use how they call it. Um, how they can now learn ATM or how they CS at home. They can use how the STEM aids kits. They can use like Fireflash robots to learn because they have access to the base component like that device. So I'm getting a lot on basic, giving learners like making learners own devices or giving them access to it so that they're able to practice whatever they are learning. So that is what I would like to add to it.
Mhm. Daniel?
Yes, I think my colleagues have done justice to the answer to the question. And to add to what they are saying, I read about this national AI strategy, and one of the ways the government seeks to achieve this is by investing in infrastructure and then partnerships. So currently there are some organizations that run some of these training, and Bernard has mentioned quite a number of them. Jonathan also has a platform called VR that also, teaches coding. So in the news some time ago, I read that government is partnering with the Ghana Indian Kofi Annan ICT Center. They do training already. So I think when it comes to collaboration, the government has started collaborating with players within the sector who already do some of these trainings, and then they are empowering them to train more people or to scale up. So that is one way. Across the edtech sector, too, some of my colleagues have solutions or train people, right, when it comes to coding and things like that. So I think there's an avenue there as well. But from what I'm seeing, most of these people are going to be people right from senior high school to the university level, because our universities alone are educating thousands of people, right? Some are also university graduates who have completed and they might not have landed a job yet. So all these people are candidates that are liable. That it is possible to train. So I think looking at these numbers, when you take the basic school, for example, in Ghana here, every year, our basic schools churn out not less than 500,000 students a year who are ready to go on into senior high school. So I think that the number 350,000 per year is very possible with the right kind of collaboration. Yes, and then the infrastructure and the support that goes into, because Ghana is a youthful country, and then you might not know. I may also take up one of the courses if I find them interesting, something like cybersecurity. I'll be happy to do something like that. So maybe on call we even have one here, so it's left with about 349,000 somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, you all bring up a very good point, sir. So from where I stand, I see a possibility of you guys are collaborating with this government program. Since you're already in that space, and therefore it's a natural thing for you guys maybe to tap into some of those resources. Has like anyone from government reached out to you guys, because you guys have been at the center of this, to see how you can collaborate, how you can teach some of these programs?
Yes, right. We are currently in talks with some government agencies on how to utilize how students can utilize our platform, and then how to take it to the public school systems. A number of private schools are already using it, so and a number of public schools as well. But we want to mainstream it so that we embed it into the curriculum. Students are learning coding. What platform are they using? Do they have to use platforms, adopted platforms, or they have to use platforms created by their own, which provides much better support for them locally. So these are what we are. These are the kind of discussions we are having with these government agencies, and it's we are getting some green light. So hopefully we'll share more news soon with you as everything checks out.
Daniel, let me come back to you. You talked about jobs. The UN and the World Economic Forum warn that reliance on AI could disrupt jobs in banking, in healthcare, in agriculture, all these office jobs that we've known. Maybe I want all of you to weigh in on this. How do we prepare the young people for that kind of work that doesn't exist, where we have to rely on AI, on other technologies to get that job done?
Wow, that's a good one. There's a saying that AI won't take jobs of ordinary people. AI is going to take the job of people who are not using AI. So, if I am a program designer or a consultant, right, and I use I have an abled assistant, right? But any other person working in my field who is a consultant and he or she is not using AI, then I have an advantage over the person. So if you look at this, the 1 million coders program, in fact, the overall national AI strategy, it has a component where it is looking at training current professionals with AI skills for their service delivery, governance, and so on and so forth. So it future proofs them and makes them, good candidates because you either adapt or you are left behind. So I think it even falls right at the center of the discussion because if the government is putting in resources to train people to catch up with this AI wave, it means they are not going to be left behind. And productivity is going to go high because people are going to use AI to develop faster. You see, making them very competitive because it's like every task you give them, they have an enabled assistant or they have a special consultant with whom they are going to do consultations and bring out the work well. So if training goes into how to use AI, the ethics of it, right? The do's and the don'ts, and the governance around it, then we are better prepared to face the future. Yeah.
I'm just curious. How are young people? How are you guys using AI and other AI tools as we speak? Or how are teenagers in Ghana using AI?
Okay, so for the children, for those in basic school, most of them use it to answer their homework questions, and they are not using it very well because the AI should be like, just as Daniel said, it should be your assistant. It shouldn't be your teacher.
Mm.
So one of the ways I think that we have to come in is to build tools that can now um, help them to use the AI as assistants, like rather than the AI doing the work for you. Because in my experience, with using AI, if you know if you know your work, like uh, and then you understand it very well, you get to know that you have to guide the AI to do the work. The AI shouldn't do the work for you. So we have to teach those in junior high school and primary to do that. And the ones they're able to do, like develop the habits, like they go with it. So that is what I can say with those that like with the kids that I basically work with. I'm sure Kennedy and then Daniel have different takes on this as well.
Yeah, personally, I've been using AI to plan my life. I've been using it to create frameworks. When I was traveling, I use it to create my itinerary. So I AI is very good, and then it has really made things easy. Things that I could have paid a traveling agent to do for me, I'm able to do myself. And then, I mean, like Bernard said earlier, we are able to ship product really fast. We can build MVP in less than a day, you know. So it has made our work easier, and then it has made us like really efficient with what we do. With students are, you know, students ask a lot of questions, so now they know that they have someone there that can answer all their questions, right, without holding back. So so they utilize AI a lot for that, and then they also use it. They a number of my students send me products that they've been able to build with AI, and I'm always impressed because today it is an airplane simulator. Today it is a game simulator. Tomorrow it's a game simulator, and then the creativity, you know, is unmatched. So I believe AI has a great impact on the students as well. Even though some of them use it for bad stuff, I'm glad that there is a moderation on AI now that you cannot dump it to give you bad things, right? And I'm glad that the AI companies are really strict on that. So the AI overall is has been beneficial.
Very good.
Uh,
Daniel, you want to weigh in as well?
yes, yes, yes. Well, as an educator, I am both excited and worried with this particular question because you see, if you have a domain expertise, right, like a doctor, using AI to help diagnosis is good. But we now have people who are becoming doctors just because of AI, and they are doing self-diagnostics and things like that, and it could be very dangerous. We also have students who are not taking the time to learn, like, and then I mean, right before the time to submit their homeworks or something like that, they jump on AI, get the answers. So the cognitive exercise is being missing, right? So it is something that is good when it is in the right hands. But with people who do not have domain expertise, in fact, when they produce work for you, you can tell that it sounds mechanical. You can tell that this is AI generated. So those are some of the issues I have. And also with some parents who may not have time to help children do their homework, they just give them the tablets or the phones, and they punch in the questions and the answers come. I mean, it doesn't help learning, right? So it's 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 a bittersweet experience, and I think we need to find ways to control that. I was watching a program on CS50, Harvard's Introduction to the Computer Sciences. You know, it's a very popular one, and um, they have embedded AI into the program, but the AI doesn't spoon feed you with the answers. It kind of advises you on how to go about to arrive at the answer, but it doesn't spoon feed you. So in their case like this, they've integrated it very well because the learning outcomes will be met, right? If I'm a student and I'm having issues, and no matter how I put the prompt, the AI will just not give me the answer. It will guide me, right? So if we are able to replicate such systems locally, then it will be good. But if we just expose it to everyone, especially young learners, it tends to make them um, lazy. Yeah, so that is my take on it. We really have to find ways to manage it properly. Parents must take action, educators must take action. Yeah.
So, if I hear you all correctly, you all seem to agree that AI has its advantages and disadvantages. There are people who are using it in a good way, and there are some bad actors who are beginning to use AI to do bad things. But at the same time, you all agree that there needs to be some kind of regulation stop people from over relying on AI. Now, from where you guys stand, is there anything like that? For example, has your government in Ghana come up with a simple basic rules of how people can engage with AI, how people can use some of these platforms? Are there any sort of like rules or laws or guidelines where people can use these tools freely without, doing the bad stuff? Either one of
Okay,
you
let
can
me.
take it on.
Yeah, let me. So I mean, I read on the news that even with the national AI strategy, the government itself is looking at ways to address some of these problems. So the Minister of Communications announced that they are working closely with the Data and Privacy Commission to come up with an open framework to guide how these systems are used. Like, I mean, data that some of these AIs are collect systems that are built locally here are collecting from people and how they are going to be used. So I know of such a discussion, but I don't know of how far it has gotten. But it is something that they really have their eyes on, and I'm looking forward to the framework and how it looks like and what it means to startups like us and how we are going to implement such things in our products and services.
How about for people who said that regulation can stifle innovation? Now, from where you stand, is that something that you guys have considered? If the government restricts so much of what is being done today, it could affect young people like you guys who are trying to create things using some of this technology.
That's very true. So, and then I really appreciate that anytime there's going to be a regulation, the government invites stakeholders like ourselves to sit at the table to talk about how those regulations are going to affect us and then how best to go about it. Because once you have strict regulations, no one would like to work under that condition. And we are innovators, we have to find our ways around things. So if you are too strict on us, we will just leave it. And then when we leave it, it falls back on the country again because we become less innovative. And I believe that for every innovative country or every country that has innovative entrepreneurs, there are some regulations that they are allowed to, work around. And that is what we are looking at from the government.
Before we continue, this is Different Perspectives, and we are streaming live on all social media platforms. For those just joining us, I'm Paul Ndiho, and my guests tonight are Daniel Ameza Phillips of Scribble Works, Bernard Ni Ajay Akulu of Nika Somo Technologies, and Jonathan Kennedy Sewa from Innovtech STEM Center. You can follow this conversation on all our work on Substack, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search for Paul Ndiho on different perspectives. Now, back to you guys. Teachers in the AI era, especially in Ghana, where you guys are, there is a shortage of STEM teachers. And interestingly, all of you are in that space where you're trying to train these young people. But there is this big gap between the teachers and the technology that we're talking about. In some schools, they don't even have any STEM teachers. Now, with this program in place, this AI strategy for Ghana, is this something that can be overcome? Can the government train enough teachers or train enough personnel to train these young people?
Yeah, it is. It is possible. It is possible, especially with the support of the private sector as well. With our platform, we have a certification program for teachers as well who want to learn about coding and then teach coding. So we have this certification, and then anyone at all that wants to get into coding and robotics can go on our platform and then take the certification course. And within some few weeks, they'll be ready to roll out robotics classes in schools or in their however they want to approach it. With the government, we have a number of teaching universities, right, where teachers are trained. And then we've worked with a number of them ourselves to train teachers on how to use our platform to enhance students' learning in science, tech, engineering, and math. So it is very possible for the government to train teachers, and then teachers themselves are also willing to learn because they know where the world is going, and they don't want to be left behind because the fear of AI coming to take their jobs. Yeah, and they don't want that. So they are getting skilled up and getting ready to face the future.
Bernard and maybe Daniel can weigh in as well. So I've seen a lot of programs are designed towards robotics in Ghana. You have a lot of young people who are into robotics. Ghana sends a lot of people to compete globally in these competitions. From where you stand, can these robotic competitions translate into maybe tangible jobs on the ground, other than just sending people for maybe a robotics competition in China? Where can these young people build robots that can help them create jobs back home?
Right. Yes. Yes. That is very true. So with the competitions, robotics competitions are normally about teaching kids creativity, right? Boosting their curiosity, giving them problem solving skills. So then these skills can be applied in a wide variety of areas or sectors. We doing this competition for them is to make them like globally competitive. Is to let them understand that okay, you've learned this, you can do this. And we've had a number of students who go out and then they've joined amazing startups building robotics innovations. Yes. So like Bernard mentioned earlier, my brother from Firefly, he was engaged in this robotics competition stuff. And now he has created his own robot, right? And this robot is now able to teach, is using it to teach students more about robots and coding, which is amazing. And we, as well, myself, I also went through robotics competitions, and then I saw a gap that we were so reliant on, you know, other like European products. So I created my own platform where we used to teach our students. So I mean, when you engage it and then you find your niche around it, then you create something, which I have done, my colleague has done, and which other students are also doing. So yes, they are creating stuff. They are creating stuff. Even though we don't have, a very good infrastructure in our country to support these young people to, bring their innovations to the limelight, they are trying. They are doing their best to make sure it gets there.
Bernard, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I think that those programs they build curiosity and then awareness among children like who didn't even like get to attend it. So like just like Hollywood, how do you call it? Just like American movies make American movies that make America attractive and like people want to come to America. The fact that Ghana like is going to this competition, and then you can see that colleagues how they call it, like doing amazing stuff. They're all empowered. They're all inspired. That's like to know that like to know the future is possible. Like yes. So for me, aside they being able to learn how to solve problems, the fact that these programs like give them the belief to know that like they can build a future is something that is much more valuable. So yes, I think guys like Kennedy, guys like um, George from Firefly, guys like Prince from STEM, they are doing amazing work when it comes to that. So we have to give them their flowers, and then encourage them to do more, so that the learners know that there's a future when it comes to things like this, and also know that they can also compete, and then even win, how they call it, win such competitions if they attend. Yeah, so that's what I'd like to share on that as well.
Daniel, from a trainer's point of view, you are into this stuff here. You train a lot of young people with acquire these skills. How important is it for them to not just to learn how to play with these tools, but create their own jobs going forward?
Yeah, I think the the exposure to robotics and the STEM related subjects uh, is a means to an end. Some of the learning outcomes are not immediate. It is for us to get them interested in the field so that as they progress to the senior high schools, they choose science and STEM related courses. And then as they progress to the universities, we end up getting more engineers and scientists. And then from there, we would see that, oh, okay, the country now has lots of engineers, scientists who are able to solve our own problems. So from the basic school where they are being introduced, the learning outcome over there is more behavioral to get them interested, to like the subject, and to see the possibilities and abilities that come with the subject. So for a typical child who was doing robotics whilst they were in school, I mean, Kennedy has a very wonderful story around it where two children that he onboarded, because they developed the interest, their mother even started doing her postgraduate in an engineering field, because when the kids come home, the kind of things they do, so it's having a ripple effect. You get it. So I guess what we can do is that, Jonathan, if God gives us the grace and we are to meet here in the next few years, you can show some of the children who have gone through your robotics program, and probably they are now either learning engineering in the university, or they are working actively in engineering fields, or they are creating solutions. Yeah. So it's not all the programs that have an immediate effect, but once it arouses the interest and puts them on the path to start to play around with things, and be inquisitive about some of these things, then you're on the right track. In the next few, some of them may even become robotics teachers themselves.
Right.
Some of them may
We
go
have
on
a
to
number
create
of
their
them.
own. Okay, so I think Kennedy has such an advantage. So that's what I would say about it. It's a movement. It's a movement.
I
So
like that.
So we are almost out of time, but I want to give you guys the last word. Going back to this uh, ambitious plan that your country has put forward. Uh, if this digital push succeeds, what should it mean for a child born today in Takoradi, in Tamale, in Accra, and maybe the remotest part of Ghana?
I think it means that um, they can compete with the world, because I mean, like, AI AI robotics and then coding is something that is like that is across the whole world, and so if the learners are not equipped to that level, that means that they can compete with kids who are in Silicon Valley, who are in New York, who are in how do you call it, the other counties, and then they can also create value as well. So that is very ambitious, and then we are all rooting for it to work. We as startups are doing our best to ensure that this thing comes to free, because the once it works, we know that we are creating learners that can compete boot to boot to to learners, to students, in countries that are more advanced than ours GDP wise.
Okay, for me, success would mean there is more employment opportunities for the youth. Once they have the skills, they now look for employment opportunities. Part of me being in London is to also get partners who will be exporting our talents to, so that students can work remotely and then make money while they are schooling. So once the skill is there, it's very easy to, sell the talent outside, even if opportunities are not in the country. We know that we have the talent, we have the skills, we have the people. So what we have to look at is look for opportunities for them and then connect them to the opportunities. And another success would be that there will be more AI enabled local startups creating amazing startups that are solving problems in the community. So for me, these are what like success looks like with the 1 million coders program.
Daniel, final word?
Yeah, and for me, if a child is born somewhere in Takrady right now with this wave going on, it means three things. Number one, they are going to enjoy technology. I mean, all these 350,000 people are going to be working. Some will be creating companies, some will be just be offering services here and there. So they are going to be born in an era of technology where the people around them, the teachers, people around them, are tech savvy. Number two, it may also mean that either a parent of theirs or a close relative of theirs may be working in technology. It's also a way to earn foreign exchange. I think just last night or so, the government of Ghana exported some nurses to another country to go and offer, services. And some of these things, in tech, you can work across the border, even right remote working. So better living standards as well. There are times we have old-fashioned traffic lights here that are not very intelligent, and I mean, but with some of these initiatives by the government, I'm definitely sure solutions are going to come up. Our traffic lights may be powered by AI, and they would better, a child will not spend too much time in traffic as opposed to our days, because definitely what we are learning, we are going to put them in practice. So the child there's no better time to be born than a child who is going to be born right now and will grow up in this wave. Thank you.
Guys, a big thank you to you all. It's been an absolute pleasure to host you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thank
Right.
you so much.
Stick around for 1 second. Stick around for 1 second as I conclude the program. Okay. Don't go away. Okay.
Sure.
Well, a big thank you to my guests tonight, Daniel Ameza Phillips of Scribble Works, Bernard Ni Aji Akolomo of Nikasumo Technologies, and Jonathan Kennedy Sowa of InnovTech STEM Center. We'll continue to monitor this ambitious plan Ghana has put in place. And to our viewers, a big thank you. And of course, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to me, Paul Ndiho, on Substack, X, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. I will see you on another episode of Different Perspectives. For now, so long from Washington. Thank you, guys. Stick around.